Greetings, everybody. It's RPG Grandma, and today I give you Field Guide to Encounters, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So, Volume 1 comes in color on the cover, Volume 2, black and white. Different pictures on the back, black and white, Volume 2, color, Volume 1. Are they the same thing? No, they're not. Do they go together? Yes, they do. What is this? It's a game. That's what it is. It's a game. And but it's a game you can totally lift everything out of that you want and use in other games from that time period. And if you know the difference between some of the games in the olden days and the modern games that you might be playing, then you can also update stuff. But what are we looking at here? And what's the difference between the volumes? First off, I got this lovely thing for $12.99 plus shipping, handling, and tax, and it originally sold in the store for $12. So that was like an internet store. This cost me more. For some reason, Volume 2 always seems to cost more, but Volume 2 is more like the Monster Manual, and that might be why. Because people always like monster manuals, even if it's for games they don't play. And so this has got some wacky stuff in it. This has some wacky stuff in it. So it's by Dragon's Bite, both of these. And Dragon's Bite is not a person, it was a group of people. This is somebody's homebrew game. This is a Playgroup's game that Judges Guild put out. The same year they put out their own system, and I do believe, and it's these were done, both published in 1982. So, does this one not have monsters? It totally has monsters too. Some of the monsters in here I think do repeat in here, but this one has a bunch of other kinds of monsters, so not all of them repeat. So that's so you know that. But it also has unique classes that I've not remember seeing anywhere else. And it has wacky things. It's the cigarette monster. That's a monster in here. The bacon and eggs. They have a bacon monster, an eggs monster. There's a flying apple turnover fritter monster. And I want to bring this up because these were made in the 80s. And it has talking, walking, attack you food. Or you can write on it, food. And we see that in modern gaming, and people freak out like it's something new and horrible. No, it's part of the gonzo crazy side of role-playing games that's always been there. Clearly, somebody thought in the 80s getting attacked by their breakfast was going to be a cool thing at the game table for some reason. We don't know how they used it, but I can think of several ways to use those kind of wacky monsters. And I would like to point out that, we had shows on in the 60s, 70s, things that where you had like Lost in Space. Remember Lost in Space? There was that whole episode with I'm going to make a carrot man, of the vegetables, alien vegetable people chasing the Lost in Space people around, trying to turn them into vegetables. Yeah, there was actually quite a few what we'll call bad plant experiences in Lost in Space. But the wacky side of fantasy and sci-fi has always been there. So to pretend like it's not, and that it should never be discussed and should never be presented as a resource is unrealistic. And just because that's not something you're going to do in your game, maybe somebody else has a reason to do it in their game. I literally also have from the Dungeons, the Dungeoneer out of the Judges Guild, like their first 10 or so Dungeoneers. In one of them, there is a killer kitchen adventure room. to put in a dungeon for your medieval people to wander into the modern kitchen where all the appliances are have been magically affected and are going to try to kill them, and they don't know what the stuff is, and you're not going to describe it as a stove. You're going to give them a description, and they're going to be thinking a giant metal chest that opens sideways, and they don't know this thing's going to try to kill them. So not to mention the telephone on the wall and the coffee grinder and the sink and the stove. And the room's been magically affected. It's been magically transported or created by a crazy magician, apparently. And there you go, something unexpected. So people were doing these things in the 80s, so not to expect them to do them now, and somebody to have the same idea and think, this is so cool, we need a little fun or humor, or I need to do something outside the box because, I'm tired of doing the same thing as the DM. To not expect that to happen in the modern age is really unrealistic and not fair. And sometimes we need to take a step back and evaluate our positions, especially those of us who are older gamers, and remind ourselves that things like this were put out. Now, what's cool about this? Now, a lot of people do not like these. I don't think they got that it was a full game system or attempting to be a new game system. But that's what it was. We have definitions in here, what all the terminology that's being used. So the first book really strikes me as for making characters, NPCs and PCs. But my favorite thing in here is having were dinosaurs. That's right. Just let that sink in, DMs. If there is a pearl in here, there's other pearls, by the way, other interesting ideas. But if you took nothing else away, the players think they're dealing with werewolves. They think they have no clue it's a pack of Raptosauruses, for example, or Triceratops. Yeah. That's awesome. You get your lycanthropy and your dinosaurs. So I'm very happy that I bought these old field guides, Encounter. And it uses different kind of spell system, but like I said, it's easy enough to see that they were building off of D&D or another D&D adjacent game that was available in the 80s, and they had created their own thing, and you can roll it back to whatever game you prefer to play and just take an idea out of here and be like, yeah, they'll never see this coming, and go for it. The cigarette monster, the flying apple turnover beast. There's all kinds of weird stuff in here. Plus, there's stuff from different mythologies, right? We've got stuff from the Blackfoot mythology, and plus, some people just made up stuff, and they tell you who created it. We got things from Lynn Carter's World's End monsters. I mean, so you can look through here, and things are close enough that you can figure out how to convert it even to a modern D&D game, because it's got the old D&D footprint still in it, even if it's using spell points instead or something else that D&D in the 80s wasn't doing. So there you go. There's my review. A lot of people hated it. I found some cool things in there, so I'm happy with my score. Yeah, it's not for everybody, but if you want to play around with a system that very few people know about, here it is. Bye!